The darkening sky. The sun had barely begun to rise over New York City when the first tremor was felt. At first, it was almost imperceptible, a slight vibration beneath the concrete, a subtle shift in the air. But within moments, it grew more intense, building in strength until the very ground seemed to hum with an unnatural force. The city was alive with noise, honking horns, the shuffling of footsteps, and the typical chatter of morning commuters. But there was a tension in the air, a heaviness that couldn't be ignored. And then, the sky changed. It wasn't the usual, blue expanse of dawn. Instead, dark clouds began to form, swirling in a way that was completely unnatural. At first, they were distant, gathering ominously over the horizon, but as the minutes passed, they seemed to move faster, swirling violently over the city. The light from the sun began to dim, as though the clouds were swallowing it whole. People began to notice. Eyes turned upward, confusion quickly turning to concern. Some pulled out their phones, snapping pictures of the unusual clouds. But a sense of dread began to creep through the crowd. There was something not right about it. Then came the roar, a deafening sound, like thunder, but far more intense. It split the sky open, and in the heart of the storm, a crack appeared, growing wider by the second. The very fabric of the atmosphere seemed to tear, and from the rift emerged something impossibly large. A shadow. A ship. No, a fleet of ships, massive and sleek, descended from the tear in the sky, their shapes so vast they obscured the city skyline. Their surface shimmered with an unnatural glow, dark metallic forms that seemed to pulse with energy. A terrible silence followed their arrival, broken only by the wind, which had grown violent, gusting through the streets and rattling the buildings. As the ships hovered above the city, releasing waves of energy that sent shockwaves through the streets, a booming voice echoed from the sky. The sound was amplified, cutting through the chaos below. It was not in any language the people had ever heard, but somehow, they understood. It was a declaration, a command. "We are the Karrathi," the voice thundered. "Your world is ours." The ground trembled again, and the alien ships released beams of intense energy, targeting the tallest buildings. A skyscraper, caught in the direct line of fire, exploded in a burst of fire and metal, sending debris raining down upon the streets below. The city erupted into panic as people scrambled to find shelter, some running toward the chaos in desperation, others fleeing in every direction. The heroes arrive. High above the city, Superman soared through the air, having been alerted to the disturbance moments before the first explosion. His eyes scanned the scene below, locking onto the ships that now filled the sky. There was no mistaking it. These were invaders, and they were here for Earth. "Not today," Superman muttered to himself, his cape fluttering in the wind as he dove toward the city. As he approached, he could feel the magnitude of the alien technology. Their ships were far beyond anything humanity had ever created, and their presence sent a wave of unease rippling through his chest. The energy emanating from them wasn't just physical, it was somehow unnatural, like it was tearing at the very fabric of reality itself. Superman's eyes narrowed. These invaders were unlike anything he had faced before. They were not here to negotiate. They were here to conquer. In the distance, Iron Man flew in, his suit glowing brightly against the backdrop of the alien ships. His voice crackled over the comms, laced with urgency. "Hey, big guy," Tony Stark said with his usual dry humor. "You've got some unwanted visitors, and they are packing some serious firepower. Think you can handle this?" "I'll try not to get too distracted by the scenery," Superman replied, his gaze still locked on the ships as they began releasing smaller crafts that darted toward the city. They were dropping from the motherships, gliding in formation like a swarm of metallic bees. The drones fired blasts of energy that tore through the streets, cutting through vehicles and infrastructure as if they were paper. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, and a massive form appeared in the distance. It was Hulk. He was charging toward the heart of the alien attack, fist swinging with an explosive fury that only the Hulk could deliver. The very earth trembled with each step as he tore through the wreckage, pushing forward in his relentless rage. "Hope you brought backup," Tony called to Hulk over the comms. "These guys aren't exactly pushovers." Hulk roared, his voice shaking the air. "Hulk smash!" he bellowed as he tore through the alien drones, smashing them into oblivion. His anger, fueled by the destruction around him, gave him strength, but even his raw power was not enough to keep up with the overwhelming tide of alien forces. The Karrathi commander, at the heart of the alien fleet, their commander, a towering figure wrapped in armor made of dark energy, watched the chaos unfold below. His eyes glowed with a fierce intelligence as he observed the battle. The heroes, as powerful as they were little more than insects to him. "Let them struggle," the Karrathi commander said, his voice cold and commanding, resonating through the vastness of the alien ships. "This world will fall, as all others have." His fingers twitched, and the ships responded to his command. Another blast of energy erupted from one of the crafts, sending a beam directly toward Superman. It struck him with incredible force, sending him hurtling to the ground, his body slamming into the street with a deafening crash. A cloud of debris billowed out from the impact site. Hulk turned to see his ally fall, his fury growing. "No!" he roared, rushing toward the fallen hero, but he was intercepted by a flurry of alien drones. Iron Man attempted to blast them from the sky, but the drones were relentless, attacking from all angles. The alien forces were vast, and their attacks unyielding. Climax, the darkest moment. As the battle reached its peak, the alien commander spoke again, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Surrender, and we will grant you mercy. Resist, and your world will be destroyed." Iron Man, battered but still functioning, knew there was only one way to stop them, but the cost would be unimaginable. He had to outthink the alien forces, use his intelligence, and turn their technology against them. With one final, devastating strike from the alien leader, Superman was captured, bound in unbreakable energy restraints. He was dragged to the center of the city, suspended high above the ground, as a symbol of their power. "We will take him as our prisoner, and with him, your world will fall," the alien commander declared. Hulk and Iron Man, weakened and with their backs against the wall, knew the battle was far from over. But this was a moment of defeat. The city lay in ruins, the alien ships looming above, and Earth's greatest heroes were no longer enough to save the planet. The alien onslaught. The ground trembled with each passing second. The alien ships hovered above New York City, casting long, terrifying shadows over the streets below. Their presence filled the air with a suffocating energy that warped the very atmosphere, sending ripples through the once clear skies. It was as if the world itself had bent to their will, and the city of millions had become a battleground in the blink of an eye. Superman, still reeling from the force of the blast that sent him crashing to the ground, struggled to push himself up. The pain in his chest was sharp, but his resolve was even sharper. As he staggered to his feet, his eyes scanned the horizon, where more alien ships were descending, dropping smaller craft like hornets swarming around a hive. "We need to end this, now," Superman muttered, his voice low but determined. His cape fluttered in the wind as he flew upward again, his eyes glowing with intensity as he charged toward the oncoming threat. Below, Iron Man hovered, his suit already damaged from the earlier skirmish. He could feel the overwhelming presence of the alien fleet as it loomed above the city. "This is bad," Tony Stark said, his voice coming through the comms. "The alien forces are multiplying. We're dealing with something beyond anything I've ever seen. We need more firepower." Hulk, who had charged through the chaos on the ground, was still tearing through alien drones with unbridled fury. Each punch sent one of the creatures flying, their bodies crumpling under the weight of his strength. His green skin glowed under the energy blasts, his rage only growing with every impact. But even his enormous strength wasn't enough to stop the relentless tide of invaders. Suddenly, a piercing screech echoed through the air. The alien ships released another round of their devastating energy blasts, this time targeting key infrastructure in the city. One blast tore through a skyscraper, sending debris falling toward the streets below, crushing everything in its path. People screamed, fleeing in every direction as the city continued to collapse around them. "We can't keep this up much longer," Iron Man said, his eyes scanning the wreckage. "We need a plan, and we need it fast." Before anyone could respond, a new threat emerged from the depths of the alien fleet. A massive armored figure appeared from the largest ship, its form towering over the city like a god of war. It was the Karrathi leader, the one who had spoken through the sky, and it moved with the precision and grace of a seasoned warrior. The air around it crackled with dark energy as it descended toward the heroes, the ground quaking under each step it took. The Karrathi leader's eyes glowed with menacing light as it raised its hand. "You are brave," it said, its voice booming through the city. "But you are no match for us." Iron Man shot a look at Superman. "I'm gonna need you to keep that thing distracted," he said, already calculating his next move. "I'll try to get some of my tech online. Maybe I can override their systems." Superman nodded, determination in his eyes. "Got it." With a burst of speed, Superman flew straight toward the karate leader, his eyes blazing with heat vision. He unleashed a powerful blast, but the leader deflected it with a shield of dark energy that absorbed the attack effortlessly. The alien leader smiked as Superman's energy was absorbed into its armor. "You are too slow," the karate leader taunted. With a flick of its wrist, it sent a shockwave of energy directly at Superman, sending him spiraling into a nearby building. The impact was enough to send debris flying, but Superman, though dazed, quickly recovered. Meanwhile, Iron Man hovered above, his chute sparking as he tried to deploy a secondary missile system to strike the alien ships. "I've got an idea," he muttered to himself, his fingers flying across the holographic interface in front of him. "Let's see if I can break through their tech." He launched a series of missiles at the incoming alien ships, targeting weak spots in their shields. The explosions caused some of the smaller ships to plummet to the ground, but the main mothership remained unharmed. Hulk, seeing the battle turn in the aliens' favor, let out a furious roar. His muscles bulged with each movement, and with one powerful leap, he crashed into a group of alien drones, scattering them in all directions. But there were too many of them, and despite his raw power, Hulk was beginning to tire. The karate leader raised its hand again, sending a blast of energy that knocked Iron Man out of the sky. His chute spiraled through the air before crashing into the ground with a deafening thud. "This is it, isn't it?" Iron Man grumbled, struggling to get up from the wreckage. He could feel the weight of the battle pressing down on him. The aliens were too strong, and their numbers were overwhelming. The karate leader, seeing that the heroes were beginning to falter, raised its arms once more, sending a wave of energy that destabilized the very ground beneath them. A fissure appeared in the ground, tearing through the streets and splitting buildings apart. The energy from the blast cut through the air, knocking Superman and Hulk off their feet. The city, already on the brink of collapse, seemed to groan under the strain. The ground split wide open, and massive sections of buildings began to topple. Fires raged in the distance, and explosions filled the air. "We need to regroup," Iron Man said through the comms, his voice heavy with fatigue. "We've got to find a way to stop them before they finish what they started." Superman, wiping the blood from his mouth, turned to face the karate leader. "We won't give up," he said, his voice filled with defiance. "We'll fight until the end." The karate leader smiled coldly. "You are weak, and your world is ours." As the heroes regrouped, the full force of the alien assault came crashing down on them, and for the first time in a long while, they felt the weight of their defeat. The end of hope was near, and Earth's greatest defenders were on the brink of failure. The first fall. The battle had raged on for hours, but the outcome was becoming all too clear. The karate invaders had proven themselves unstoppable, the advanced technology overwhelming Earth's defenders. Iron Man's missiles had done little to breach the alien ship's formidable shields, while Hulk's raw strength was no match for the endless swarm of drones sent to incapacitate him. Superman, though mighty, found himself facing an enemy unlike any he had ever encountered, one that knew how to counteract every one of his powers. The streets of New York were in ruins. What had once been the heart of the world's greatest city was now a battlefield, a graveyard of buildings and infrastructure. Fires burned, casting long shadows, while smoke billowed into the sky like a funeral pyre for humanity's hope. The karate ships continued to hover above, sending down waves of destruction, obliterating everything in their path. But the most horrifying sight was the one that none of them had been prepared for. The karate leader, a towering, dark figure cloaked in energy, stepped onto the battlefield. His armor was like nothing any earthling had ever seen. It radiated an unsettling power, and his eyes gleamed with a cold, calculating malice. With every step, the earth beneath him seemed to tremble, and every hero present could feel the weight of his presence. "We will show you the true power of the karate," the leader's voice boomed across the city, amplified through the alien ships. "You are nothing more than insects to us. This world will bow before us." Superman, still reeling from the blows he had taken, stood tall and steely. "Not while I'm here." But the karate leader merely smiled, a cruel, unfeeling grin. Your resistance is futile. You will fall, just like the others before you. The fall of Superman. With a sudden burst of energy, the karate leader unleashed a massive wave of force from his outstretched hand, sending Superman crashing into the side of a nearby skyscraper. The building crumbled as Superman's body smashed through it, sending debris raining down onto the streets below. For a moment, everything went quiet. The sounds of battle faded as the dust settled. Iron Man's voice crackled through the comms, frantic and full of concern. Superman. Clark. Come in. Hulk, still fighting off alien drones, looked up at the sight of the destruction, his eyes wide with disbelief. No, not him. Superman had always been their symbol of hope. He was the one who could always turn the tide, the one who never backed down. But now, his body lay crushed beneath the rubble, unable to rise. His chest, once a beacon of strength, was now battered and broken. The karate leader stood tall, surveying the damage. It is over, he declared, raising his hand to command his forces. The Kryptonian is no more. And now, we take the rest of your world. Iron Man's struggle. As Superman's defeat sank in, Iron Man's resolve hardened. We can't let this happen, Tony Stark muttered to himself, his suit sparking from the damage it had taken. His systems were failing, his energy levels dangerously low. But he was still standing. The karate had torn through their defenses with ruthless precision, and now, without their strongest hero, it seemed all hope was lost. Iron Man surged forward, dodging incoming fire from the alien ships, using every ounce of his remaining energy to launch another assault. He fired everything he had, missiles, repulsors, lasers, all aimed at the alien leader's dark shield. But the karate leader simply raised his hand, deflecting each blast with an ease that made it clear how far beyond humanity's capabilities their technology was. You think you can stop us with your puny toys? The karate leader taunted, his voice cold and full of disdain. We are the karate. The universe bends to us. Iron Man, bruised and barely functioning, was starting to feel the sting of failure. He wasn't Superman. He didn't have the raw strength or invulnerability. All he had was his intellect and his will to fight. But even that seemed like a poor match against the vast power the karate wielded. I won't give up, Tony muttered, firing a final shot that barely grazed the karate leader's shield. Not while there's a chance. Hulk's rage unleashed. Meanwhile, Hulk's fury reached new heights. His vision was clouded with anger, and every part of him wanted to lash out. The alien drones kept coming, attacking him from all sides, but Hulk's blows were too powerful for them to withstand. With each swing, alien bodies flew, but there were more coming, an endless stream. The karate were overwhelming him. Hulk smash, he roared, throwing one of the alien drones into the air, but the attack barely fazed the alien forces. They were relentless, and Hulk's anger was only beginning to take its toll. He was growing tired, his massive form slowing as the battle stretched on. The more he fought, the more the alien invaders seemed to multiply. A sudden blast of energy hit Hulk square in the chest, sending him crashing into a building. He lay there, groaning, his once impenetrable body bruised and battered. For the first time, he felt vulnerable. Hulk's roar echoed across the city as he stood up, his body trembling with rage. But the karate leader's voice rang out again, cold and certain. Enough, he said, raising a hand to command his forces. We've broken them. The Earth belongs to us. The final blow. With Superman down and Hulk and Iron Man battered, the remaining hope for Earth's survival seemed slim. The karate forces had succeeded in their first objective, breaking the will of Earth's greatest heroes. The karate leader turned toward the destruction he had caused, savoring the silence that followed their first true victory. Iron Man's voice came through the comms once more, faint but filled with determination. We're not done yet, not while there's a breath left in us. But even Tony knew the truth. The heroes were down, and the karate were too powerful. The first fall had been devastating, but it was only the beginning. The alien forces had the momentum, and now they would show no mercy. The fall of Earth. The sky above New York City had turned a sickly, dark hue. The karate ships, their vast, shifting forms hovering above, seemed to pulse with an ominous energy, sending shockwaves of fear throughout the city. The ground below had become a battleground, filled with devastation. Buildings lay in ruins, fires raged unchecked, and the once thriving streets were now choked with debris and the remnants of destruction. The city, the heart of civilization, had been reduced to a shell of its former self. The heroes had fought valiantly, but they were broken. Superman lay unconscious, trapped in the unbreakable energy field created by the Karrathi leader. Iron Man, his suit battered and sparks flying from the joints, had barely managed to stay airborne, struggling to recharge his systems. Hulk, though filled with rage, had been knocked unconscious after a series of brutal attacks, his body too weakened to continue. The Karrathi had taken everything Earth's mightiest heroes had to give, and still, they stood tall, their forces seemingly endless. The alien leader, towering over the remains of the heroes, surveyed the wreckage with cold, calculating eyes. He raised his hand, and the ground trembled beneath him as a wave of energy pulsed outward, further destabilizing the already shattered city. The Karrathi had succeeded in their mission. Earth had fallen. There was no more resistance. "We have conquered this world," the Karrathi leader's voice boomed, amplified through the alien ships, "and its people shall kneel before us. Your heroes are defeated. Your world is ours." The last stand. As the Karrathi forces moved to secure the city, Earth's remaining defenses were too few to stop them. Every military force, every last-ditch effort by humanity to fight back, had crumbled under the alien onslaught. Cities across the world had fallen in a matter of hours. The sky had become a graveyard of burning ships and scattered debris, a haunting reminder of the Earth's inability to defend itself against this cosmic invasion. Iron Man, barely conscious, fought to keep his suit online. His body was bruised, and his mind was hazy, but his resolve remained. He activated his suit's emergency protocol, attempting to reboot his systems, but the damage was severe. "Come on, Tony, you've faced worse," he whispered to himself, forcing himself to stand. He tried to reach Superman, still trapped in the alien energy field, but the Karrathi forces surrounding him were too strong. Then came a voice, weak but steady. "We're not done yet." Hulk's massive form stirred beneath the wreckage. He pushed himself up, groaning with effort. His green skin was marred with bruises and cuts, but the fury in his eyes burned brighter than ever. His body was battered, but his spirit, like the city, was not broken yet. "Not done," Hulk grunted, his voice raw with rage. He stumbled to his feet, fists clenched as he turned to face the Karrathi leader. Iron Man, though struggling, managed a small smile. "Now that's the Hulk I know." The Karrathi leader's eyes narrowed at the sight of the hero standing again, but his smirk remained. "You persist, but your defiance is meaningless. You cannot stop what is inevitable." The desperate final battle. The heroes knew this was it, their last chance to stop the Karrathi and reclaim their world. But even with Superman's strength, Iron Man's intellect, and Hulk's raw power, they were outmatched. The alien leader, far more powerful than they had anticipated, had already crushed their morale and inflicted damage that would take decades to heal. "I'm not going down without a fight," Tony Stark muttered, pulling out what little energy remained in his suit. His repulsor beams fired once again, striking the Karrathi leader. The alien leader simply raised a hand, blocking the attack as if it were nothing more than a nuisance. With a wave, the repulsors were deflected, and Iron Man was sent spiraling to the ground. Hulk rushed forward, his monstrous fist swinging. With a roar, he struck the Karrathi leader square in the chest, the force of the blow causing a shockwave that sent alien drones flying. But the leader didn't flinch. With a mere thought, the Karrathi leader raised a shield of dark energy, absorbing the impact and sending Hulk crashing into a nearby building. Superman, still trapped in the energy field, tried to break free. His eyes glowed with intensity as he pushed against the restraints, but the alien technology was too powerful. He could feel his energy being drained, the strength that had once been his greatest asset now a weakness. The Karrathi leader approached Superman, his eyes glowing with satisfaction. "You fought valiantly, Kryptonian, but your world is over. Your race is nothing." Climax, the ultimate defeat. With their efforts growing weaker and weaker, the heroes were left with one final option: sacrifice. The Earth was lost, and they were the last line of defense. They had failed to stop the invasion, but perhaps they could buy enough time for the rest of humanity to escape. "Iron Man, Hulk, we have to make a move. Together," Superman finally said, his voice filled with determination despite the odds. "For life." But the Karrathi leader intervened. his energy blast striking the ground between them, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. "You dare to challenge me," he bellowed. Iron Man, eyes blazing with fury, knew they couldn't keep fighting. "We may not win today, but Earth's fight isn't over." With their final ounce of strength, the heroes made a last-ditch effort to strike at the heart of the alien leader's power. But it was too late. The Karrathi leader sent a powerful surge of energy into the ground, causing a catastrophic wave of destruction that flattened the remaining resistance. The city crumbled, and the heroes were defeated. Superman fell, his body exhausted and broken. Hulk, too, was brought to his knees. Iron Man, struggling to stand, could only watch as the Karrathi leader loomed above, raising his hand in triumph. "The Earth belongs to the Karrathi now," the leader declared, his voice echoing through the ruins. "Your world has fallen." The final moments of Earth's greatest defenders were a testament to their courage, but it was clear now. The alien forces had won. Earth and its heroes had fallen.